Say like what one man is building, another man has built. And it sounds so, oh man, but what about love? And it's like, I'm a woman, I don't have the time to wait. I'm not going to wait for a man because there are some people who have potential and they never see their potential through. And for women, we rarely benefit from that dice toss gamble of taking a chance on a man. It's almost like when you're in the airport and there's a conveyor belt you can walk on.
Yes.
I see the man as that. Like, he's not the destination, he's the conveyor belt. I can get there quicker with him. In fact, there are men who I meet who they thrive when they're in a position where they're being of service to a woman. I saw that happen recently in a conversation that came to the service about Nick Cannon and Mariah Carey, where Nick Cannon was expressing that during his period of being married to Mariah Carey, like she was high flying and successful and had all the money, and she would express to him that all she wants from him is love. And so there were times when he would feel really embarrassed as a man because he's just holding the nappy bags and he doesn't really know what else he can do really, because she's on tour and she's doing all the things and she's the breadwinner, and he didn't feel useful. And even though I don't agree that people have to insert money into love to feel useful, this is how men see themselves. This is how patriarchy operates.
That's interesting. So you would imagine, you would say that that's one of the reasons for the demise of that relationship of Nick Cannon and Mariah Carey.
For sure.
Is it because
his manhood was impacted by her success?
I adore your ideas and your and I see what you do too. I think you're very clever. Is that it's like saggy boobs matter. It's like you will position something in a loud way, and the ignorant folks you just eat them up. Like you eat them up easily. Like it's like child's play. Like you eat them up. But then it causes, I think, healthy debate.
For sure.
And debate is what destroys ignorance, and that's what I love. Like, so I love that about your work. But now, is that about being a man, or is that someone who just has an issue with self-esteem? Is that someone who has an issue with self-worth? You know, is it about his manhood, or is it about self-esteem and ego?
Most men have an issue of self-esteem and ego because what men pride their manhood on, ironically, is their success, is their money, is the size of their dick. And as much as we spend time trying to encourage men to see themselves as a full, multidimensional human being, and we try to remind men that you're a person, it's okay to have feelings, it's okay to see yourself beyond the vessel you've been born into, they still insist on clinging onto those patriarchal ideas about themselves. And that's the prison that they have unfortunately locked themselves in. And they are happily wearing that key. They don't care to dismantle the structures anytime soon. So that's why we see that, you know, when a man finally comes into money, it's often the reason why the woman who he came up with, he leaves her and he goes for the women that he couldn't get while he was still with the woman who built him up to where he is.
I'm gonna stop it there, and then I'll just play the rest of that a little bit, which is not too much more. But Shan, does patriarchy hurt men's self-esteem more than they admit?
Does it hurt them? I don't think it hurts their self-esteem. However, I do believe that if they're in a situation, as she put, I don't necessarily think it hurts their self-esteem, but it is an ego thing. For some will live in it and be happy with that. But I do think that there are men who it is ego. If you like to be the head man in charge, you know, you don't want your woman. I mean, think about Nick Cannon. He has a name of his own, you know, and so to be asked to do something for somebody else is like, you know, I mean, any man in that position will probably feel the same exact way. But then there are other guys who are okay with it, right? There are other men who are like, you know, I don't mind having an Oprah. She does everything and I'll just sit in the background. Doesn't mean they're not doing their own thing. They just allow her to be who she is, and they're okay with her flourishing and they step in the background. So I just think it depends on the men. I think it's so many men out here and they don't all think the same. They just don't. It just depends on the man you got. And yes, Sweeney, that's not true.
No, that wasn't what I was about to respond to. Like in Nick Cannon's particular situation, it wasn't just that his ego got in the way. Like he just woke up one day and said, "Man, I don't feel like a provider." He was getting clowned the whole time. That's like he was getting clowned the entire time.
Who's clowning Nick Cannon for bagging Mariah?
Everybody was clowning. Everybody was clowning him for being the one that was carrying her purse. Matter of fact, if y'all think about it, y'all remember the picture with ASAP Rocky when they had her in front, he was walking behind her. ASAP Rocky got clowned for that. It wasn't. Society doesn't look at men as men when they're being the one that carries the purse, or they're the one carrying the bag. They don't look at them like that. So, ladies, credit. She's absolutely right that patriarchy gives men this feeling that this is how they shouldn't act. However, it wasn't just him internally feeling some type of way and then he changed. He was getting clowned the entire time by society, and it made him feel some type of way, and he felt worthless at the time. Now
I was gonna say, so I agree with you that he was getting clowned at the time, but I feel like it was men that was doing the most clowning for him. And yeah, and to the Mariah Carey example, I think there's another nuance that I wasn't in a relationship, so I wouldn't know exactly, but some women in positions of power like that may attempt to like belittle you. So it's potentially that she could have been belittling to him. But if that's not a factor, then I think it's insecurity on the man. Because if you tie your self-worth and identity to your profession or however much money you have, once you remove that, you don't feel like a man, and then you can start acting in all these different type of ways. So I agree with the lady. Like for instance, when it came to like basketball or something, right? A lot of people put their entire identity into basketball, and my coach them used to be mad at me because I didn't like wearing the team clothes. Like I wanted to be an individual and stand on my own as a man. However small that might have seemed to them that was a big deal because they wanted you to always appear to be one unit. My thought process was basketball is a aspect, a compartmentalized perspective of my life. It's not my entire entity. I'm still him to myself outside of this specific thing. Or I'm still him outside of how much money I have, or I'm still him outside of how much money I don't have. My self-esteem is set up in a way that I wouldn't have had an issue with Mariah Carey unless she was being disrespectful with the stuff she was saying, which is why I use the Oprah example. Like a woman can't belittle me just by being successful. If anything, I'm happy for her. Like, go ahead and win. It's going to come back. Now, when you try and revert the way that we interact with each other into she becomes dominant and tries to force you into a submission, I'm not going for that, right? But I don't think that that's necessarily equates to a woman making money. I think that relates to how much respect that woman has. But
and Sweeney, real fast, let's just be real. Nick Cannon is no stranger to being clowned. Before he even got with Mariah, y'all be clowning him by his music. This, I don't think it had anything to do with being clowned.
He even said it. He even said it. But he never said he never said that she did anything to make him feel that way. He's never said that she disrespected him, but he did feel emasculated by the public, and he was even getting clowned on the show. Now he started taking it in stride after the divorce and everything like that, but that definitely played a factor in how he was viewing himself. Like he felt like the guy that was following behind a woman, like his career was falling apart, like he wasn't that dude and all of that. He was just Mariah's boy toy. That's how he felt, because that's what everybody treated him like, specifically the men. I'm going to be honest with you, it was us, because we don't look at men who walk around carrying a woman's purses as men. We look at them like, oh man, you out here, man. You instead of looking at him as Nick Cannon, we looked at him as Mariah's husband. And that can make a man feel some type of way when your identity is completely tied to your woman and you ain't being seen as yourself. You know, so yeah.
So y'all saying the patriarch ruined his marriage?
He was carrying like the diaper bag or some shit like that.
Oh, I carried a diaper bag. That's my kids.
So y'all saying the patriarch ruined his marriage? Is that what it is? The patriarchy ruined Nick Cannon's marriage with Mariah Carey? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Potentially. Potentially.